Today's video is possibly one of the most important videos I'm ever going to make. This topic needs to be talked about because I feel like there is barely any representation for this. And that is accessibility in video games and the people who are disabled that play them. I feel like this subject gets pushed under the rug anytime it gets talked about by the gaming community and also people in the games industry. I personally am not disabled. Although I am in a minority, I'm part of the LGBTQ community, and I know what it's like to not be listened to. So I hope in today's video I can bring some awareness to this subject. This was all brought up by an email that I received a couple of days ago. Hi Roxy, I'm a big fan of RPGs. I've beaten Skyrim several times and have hundreds of hours in The Witcher 3, and I want to play Kingdom Come Deliverance. However, the thing is that I have low vision. Not good, but not terrible. I just need contrasting interfaces and I'm fine. Unfortunately, the game's interfaces, inventory, codex, map, navigator lines, labels, etc., are written on a paper-coloured background and are not disability friendly. It's simply just about colours. Compare KCD's inventory to The Witcher 3's inventory and you'll see a dark background with white letters. I have written to Warhorse Studios to ask them to create a small patch with a retextured menu, but they have unfortunately ignored my mail. So reading this, I was actually taken back a little bit. I didn't expect this to be an issue, and that's because I'm not educated in the idea of these issues in video games. And I've looked into it and I can see the problem. Take Fallout 4 for an example. When you're talking to someone, there are no contrasting backgrounds against the subtitles. Thankfully, there is a mod that you can download which will give you a black background behind the writing. And personally, I like using that myself. You may or may not know that I don't have the best vision either. I need glasses, and it personally strains my eyes if I'm trying to read writing that isn't on a contrasting background. Now obviously I'm not on the same level as this person that's writing to us, but I feel their pain. And that's where I want to ask your help. Warhorse Studios, I know you watch my videos, and I'm ever so bloody grateful. Could you do anything about this? All it would need to be is an option in a menu that turns the paper to black, so you have the white writing on a black background. That's it. Now, unfortunately, if you can't do that, I know for a fact that we have had modders watching the channel. I've been contacted by Kingdom Come Deliverance modders before. If they're able to do the same thing, then that would be amazing. The only problem is that would only be on PC. Now, with modding tools coming very, very soon, this seems like a no-brainer. But it would be such a tiny change and it would affect quite a lot of people. Now, I asked this person if they wanted their name to be read out, and they said, maybe mentioning my name is not the most expedient way. I mean, it's not just about me, it's about every gamer with low vision. And I'm also going to add here, it's also about every other gamer with a disability. Because not only is it people with low sight that struggle with games, you have people who are deaf, and they linked me an article which is here. This is from a website called Can I Play That? And this is a review of Kingdom Come Deliverance from a deaf gamer's perspective. And this was incredibly eye-opening reading this as someone who doesn't have issues with hearing. There are pros where most dialogue is subtitles. Cutscene subtitles are an okay size, and NPC dialogue is subtitled above their head, which is very, very true. Cons: no speaker labels, no visual cues for essential sounds, and dialogue not directly in front of you. Now, I was wondering what they meant by this, and if we scroll down further in this page, it shows exactly what they mean. The last major problem in this game are the sound cues that have no visual component. In the above image, you are told to find a spade. Now, this, of course, takes place in the sequence where you're in Skalitz trying to bury your parents. Now, if you've played this sequence before, you know for a fact that you have to listen for the dog barking. If you've never played the game before, you're not going to know what to do. Hearing players will be able to guess that they should follow the sound of a barking dog. Deaf players or hard of hearing players will have to wander aimlessly until they happen upon the dog and cue the cutscene. Now, I've actually had this experience. I didn't have my headphones on the first time I played this sequence, and I had no clue what to do. Now, I put my headphones on and I realised, oh, there's a barking dog. But people with hard of hearing or who are deaf wouldn't know that. Now, I don't want to throw Kingdom Come Deliverance under the bus. I don't think this is the only game that has these issues. I want to use it as an example, though, because I know it very well. And I know that Warhorse Studios listens to their community. Now, I have an idea of how you could fix this kind of issue in a video game. You know, in Call of Duty, when a grenade gets thrown at you, you have a little marker with an arrow on the side of your screen showing where that grenade is. In most first-person shooters, you have that marker hovering to tell you, hey, there's a grenade right next to you, run away. They could implement that into a sound that you need to hear. So you could have a little picture of a dog come up with an arrow pointing towards the dog. Now, this could be optional. And I think the most important thing here is to make these optional. You don't want to be putting these things in the game when you're trying to be immersed for someone who is fine with hearing and someone who is fine with sight. But the option should be there. Earlier this year, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice had quite the controversy. People wanted there to be an easy mode, but the developers didn't want to do that. Their vision of this game was that it was supposed to be difficult. And a lot of people got up in arms about it, saying, well, this is a game where you're supposed to get good. Obviously, this developer has a vision, and that's fair enough. If you want the game to be realistic, if you want it to be hard, fair enough. But you should include the tools for people who aren't maybe able to play those kinds of games at the speed of someone who is fine with motor skills and that kind of thing. That doesn't affect anyone else. They can play on their ultra hard mode. But the idea of allowing everyone to enjoy the wonders of video games is so important. And that's what I believe. Everyone should have the opportunity to enjoy a video game. And it pisses me off sometimes where games are kind of closing their gates to people who are struggling to play said games. And it's sad that that's happening. Thankfully, there are people talking about this, such as Able Gamers and Steve Spawn, who is a person I follow on Twitter. There are quite a few people who play Mortal Kombat in competitive matches who are blind. And that's amazing. All because of sound cues. And that shows that everyone can enjoy video games if you have the tools necessary to be able to do that. I think this is perfectly shown by what Steve Spawn says in his Twitter bio. Guy trying to make the world a better place. And that goes for a lot of things. I think that education in certain topics is so useful. And accepting people is so important.
The adjective important is usually defined as of much or great significance or consequence.
What Alexa said. I don't know why she said that, but okay. Yeah, exactly what she said. My main point in this video is to bring this to light. So if you're able to help with modding a game that doesn't have these tools, then go for it, because you will be loved by so many bloody people. And Warhorse, you better put this in the game, or I'll come round to your house and I'll throw pretzels at your faces. Thank you to the person who emailed me, because it's opened my eyes to quite a lot of this recently, and it makes me want to get the message out there, so thank you. Comment down below with your thoughts. I just needed to make this video, I think. This is important. And if you could share it as well, that'd be great. If you want a slightly more professional take on this, then make sure to head over to Game Maker's Toolkit on YouTube. They have an amazing series of videos called Designing for Disability, which goes into everything I've talked about today, but it goes in a lot more detail. It even shows the percentage of people who have disabilities and just how many of them there are. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, but until next time, that's me, out. Bye, guys.